So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Will you get to the table? Once you're seated, if you'll please identify yourselves and then be sworn in.
Raise your right hands, please. Do you hereby swear or affirm under the authority of perjury that the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth? And promise to come so.
Madam Chair, the applicant proposes to establish a multi-specialty ASTC and cardiac cath service in the vacated space of Berger's Department Store at the Quincy Mall in Quincy, Illinois. The cost of the project is approximately $19.5 million. The anticipated completion date is March 1st, 2021. The applicant received an intent to deny at the March 5th, 2019 State Board meeting. There was a public hearing held on this project, and the board has received numerous comments, both for and against, on this project and are included in the material we sent to you. Finally, the applicants have not met all the requirements of the State Board as documented in your supplemental report. Thank you.
Thank you. I assume we have a presentation for the board.
We do. My name is Carol Brockmiller, Brockmiller. I'm the CEO of Quincy Medical Group. Thank you for the opportunity to reappear before you today. At the last meeting, our project received 3 affirmative votes and 2 abstentions. We tailored our brief presentation today to focus on the comments of those who abstained from voting and to address the few questions that were posed by the board and its staff. Those who abstained from voting commented on a perceived tension between QMG and Blessing Health System. It was suggested that we return home and work to determine what is in the best interest of the people of Quincy. We took the comments and suggestions of this board to heart, and we took action to ensure that we understood what the people of Quincy want and need. Our physicians identify needs and we solve problems. We follow rules and processes, including the CON journey. The QMG physicians provide the kind of foundational health care that Illinois and America needs. The kind of health care that benefits economies and improves lives. Quincy Medical Group for 7 years has been a part of a Medicare ACO. We have taken risk and we have shared in savings. Our low cost, high quality, and amazing patient experience in relationship with doctors, but that's only to the extent that we can control and influence our environment. We believe that competition and choice is good. QMG responds to patients, employers, and consumers. We rise to the occasion. We step up our game when needed. When Blessing started a competing physician group years ago, Physician Tower number 1 was built, Physician Tower number 2, and number 3. And here recently when they applied for an 82,000 square foot medical office building, we don't fuss, we go back to work, we try to up our game, we make sure that we're offering a service and a product that matters to people in the community. So we understand the importance of choice and competition. QMG is a multi-specialty physician group. We're owned and operated by 115 physicians. We provide healthcare in Quincy, and we've done so since 1937. Hardworking, nimble, willing to take appropriate risk, and invest in the future of medicine. We have lived with the hospital monopoly for some time now, but we want a chance to move ahead, to continue successfully recruiting and retaining the highest quality physicians. In fact, there are surgeons who are waiting to join Quincy Medical Group with your approval today. We have positioned ourselves in such a way to add a surgery center to the care experience that we provide. The corporate tension that you sensed on May 5th is just that, 2 competing organizations. But that does not extend to the clinical realm. Physicians and healthcare workers will always do what's right for the patient. That was true before and after the last hearing as well. There are some outstanding issues and questions remaining, and today we believe that we have addressed the remaining 3 criteria, having met 28 of the 31. Today we will speak to service accessibility, unnecessary duplication, and financial viability. We'll be brief, including a few closing remarks from me, and we want to be sure that we answer all of your questions. Our relationship efforts with Blessing have existed and evolved for years, 80 years to be exact. That will always be our goal. We are better together in many ways, but competition and choice is sorely needed and will benefit patients and the community. We can serve more patients, provide more services through the proposed surgery center. We can keep healthcare in our community, taking the lead in offering a service that further involves healthcare of the future. Outpatient, cost-effective, accessible to all, highly efficient, incredibly convenient. The future is outpatient procedures and more of them. QMG physicians are vested in this project and in their communities. We've done our homework, and we even had the wherewithal to plan ahead to perform the latest, greatest, and safest procedures in an ambulatory setting, including cardiac procedures. I will not give much energy to what the past 6 months has been like. It has been difficult, and there have been tactics used by the hospital in sort of unprecedented and aggressive opposition. It's been a little unseemly, unbecoming, unnecessary, and in our opinion, unfair. There is a difference between appearing collaborative and being collaborative. And we would like to think that our project is not being blocked for undue reasons. It is our belief that the hospital will benefit from our project in many ways, including the reduction of outmigration, the use of inpatient ORs for the right surgeries in that setting, and I sincerely hope that they, like we will, take some time to look inward and decide what is right to do together, what the community needs, just a little corporate self-reflection. Perhaps we will reach out to one another and do some sort of genuine collaborative spirit, as we do clinically now, and retool ourselves and truly think about the region's healthcare. Our C1 application has begun to change the landscape of healthcare in Quincy and the region. Your approval today ensures that that will continue. Our efforts have awakened the hospital, patients, consumers, the community, even QMG physicians, and the team of so many who believe in what we're doing and why. We believe that the remaining speakers here will answer any outstanding questions. We want to be sure that we exhaust everything that may be on your minds and hopefully earn your approval for our project. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Todd Petty. I am a surgeon and do basically all of my operations at the hospital. I've worn a lot of hats there before. I've been the Department of Surgery Chairman, the President of Medical Staff. I've served on the hospital board. But tonight I speak to you as the board chairman for Quincy Medical Group. When we were here last, there were really no concerns voiced regarding the technical merits of our project, but there were concerns voiced regarding the cooperative nature or lack thereof that was how things seem. I think it's important, though, to separate competition from a corporate strategy level from collaboration and cooperation at a clinical patient level. I think that we've done very well with the cooperation for patient level for years. We've got a great trauma program. Many QMG physicians serve on various committees at the hospital, are involved in patient quality projects, cost efficiency projects. For example, I'm currently one of the leads of the surgical quality improvement team. We've agreed to continue discussions with Blessing about all potential collaborative and alignment opportunities, and we've met with them a couple times in the last month. We also sent them a comprehensive alignment proposal. Again, we sent the same thing last summer that detailed shared clinical responsibilities, cost savings, joint ventures, even shared governance by the physician groups. They're not interested in a broad collaborative project such as that. But competition is real in our community, and I think that competition is okay as long as we cooperate at the patient level. They've recently expanded hours of the existing surgery center, but despite that, the existing surgery center is still at capacity, still has no blocks for new physicians. The physical size of the rooms is just not adequate for some of the new procedures that need to be done. These limitations result in a lot of outpatient surgeries being pushed to the hospital, which is the inappropriate setting for it and much more expensive. Even if we went down on a joint venture proposal with the current surgery center, that doesn't address any of the problems a new facility site would. Our surgery center will also provide the community access to services and procedures not currently available at the surgery center, including neurosurgery, urology, certain orthopedics, and ENT procedures. Regardless of what service lines are currently approved at the surgery center, the simple truth is there are many operations that are not and cannot be done there currently. Those will be offered at our new surgery center, which is why, with all due respect to the board staff, we believe our project should have received a positive finding regarding service accessibility criteria. Without expanded service accessibility, patients are forced to leave town or pay high prices locally or simply forego care. An example I've mentioned before is a local farmer I had with a hernia that bothered him. He had no insurance. We looked into a facility fee. He was quoted $30,000, but they dropped it to $18,000 if you paid cash. He didn't have $18,000 cash and never got his hernia fixed. It's hardworking people like that that deserve a choice in town, they deserve a reasonable price, and they deserve medical care, and he did not. There's also no question in my mind that's not coincidental that the timing of the recent joint venture was given, or that the hospital is now taking some steps to address some of the limitations to the current surgery center, including expanding hours, planning to drop prices. Those things are a direct result of our application being here today. It's also because we have broad community support. It's also because we believe our project is technically compliant. Just the threat of competition has already led to these improvements in our local area, so we can just imagine the positive outcomes we see when we actually get an approval. And although it may be somewhat counterintuitive, I think that getting an approval for our own surgery center would actually increase collaborative interest because we'd be on a more equal footing. The project before you today is a proposed surgery center at 3347 Broadway. We've twice offered Blessing an opportunity to enter into a joint venture at that location, and they've said no. We believe we've done everything required from a technical reviewability standpoint and everything asked of us at the last board meeting to justify approval of our project today. I'd ask you please do what is in the expressed interest of the majority of our community and approve this project. Thanks.
The other one might be better. Yeah.
Thank you. As I stated earlier, I'm Beverly Helke, H-E-L-K-E-Y. I'm the Executive Director of the Tri-State Healthcare Purchasing Coalition located in Quincy, Illinois. Our coalition represents 50 employers and more than 31,000 covered lives. We were founded in 1991. Our coalition has worked with Blessing and Quincy Medical Group for years, and we support both providers. They have a history of working together when it's beneficial to their patients and to the community, and we expect that to continue and for them to work together. However, a co-owned or collaborative surgery center isn't in the best interest of our community. At the last board meeting, it was suggested that Q&G engage and consult with a third-party community leader who is not a healthcare provider to help determine truly what's in the best interest of the people.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Are you an applicant? Are you part of the application? I mean, the organization that you just stated you were with, that
Chairman Murphy, I would just address this real quickly. We read Chairman Sewell's remarks to ask us to consult with the community leader, and Ms. Helke is that. She's not a community father, but she's a community mother, and we read that as a direct request of this board.
okay.
It did.
Sorry, we just wanted to clarify.
No, thank you.
Thank you, go ahead.
So at the last board meeting, you asked for an independent person that would bring an unbiased, objective perspective to you so that you could do that. And that's what we do as a healthcare coalition. Since 1991, we've been working with the employers, and what we've heard from them on this project is that our community supports Quincy Medical Group, but they adamantly oppose a co-owned collaborative surgery center. And I'd like to field questions from you. Before I do, there's just a few things that I'd like to let you know about some of the work that we do so that you understand why our presence is important. We have tons of surgical outmigration that leaves our community. And so the surgical outmigration goes into Springfield, Illinois, Columbia, Missouri, and St. Louis, Missouri. If we can bring those people back to Quincy, we will have enough patients to fill probably even a third surgical center, because the outmigration is so huge. And what Quincy Medical Group is offering is a more affordable price, so it will increase the opportunity for people to come back, because that's why most people are leaving Quincy, is because the cost is just too high. And that's what we do. We track cost and quality. Part of the thing that we do is we purchase MedPAR data. You're probably familiar with that. And we purchase that through Quantros, and Quantros was mentioned earlier today. But what we do with Quantros is we actually compare data to where our people go for care. So we look at cost in Springfield, in Champaign, Peoria, into the St. Louis region. And in all of those cases, blessing ranges 20 to 60% higher. And this has been a long-term price increase for our community. It's spanned many, many years. And the other thing that I want to mention about competition is that back in December, I was asked to come to Blessing Hospital and meet with Maureen Kahn and Mr. Ribbler at a meeting. And Ms. Kahn was absent that day, but I did meet with Mr. Ribbler. And he wanted me to know confidentially that they had made a decision to decrease their ambulatory surgery rates by 30%, thereby Quincy Medical Group would need to open a surgery center. So had they not put in their certificate of need, I'm confident those rates would have never gone down. The other thing is about 5 years ago, as a healthcare coalition, we opened 2 employer-sponsored health clinics. One of those is still operational and one of them is closed. And Mr. Ribbler told me in that meeting that the best thing that we ever did was to bring a third party into Quincy and create competition, because it made them be a better provider. So do you have any questions for me, or do we just want to?
Let's finish the.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Patty Williamson. I'm the CFO of Quincy Medical Group. Our project meets 6 of the 7 financial criteria. The one criterion that we did not meet was related to the state's financial viability ratios that are driven by the amount of cash on hand. The state does not have a cash on hand standard for taxable physician medical groups, despite the fact that their cash retention practices are quite different than non-taxable hospitals. Because QMG is a for-profit business entity, it uses its cash not only for capital expenditures, but to make distributions to its shareholders. Those distributions are net with operating cash flow on QMG's financial statements, but are discretionary, and when they are reflected separately, they paint a very different picture of QMG's strong operating cash flow. QMG provided 2 sets of financial viability ratios in its application in order to demonstrate that it does indeed generate significant positive free cash flow from which earnings can easily be retained. 45 days cash on hand, the state standard for ASTCs, when calculated on the ASTC operations, is $1.8 million. After the last meeting, QMG voluntarily submitted a letter of commitment to earmark $1.8 million to be held on hand for the project. QMG also began retaining additional earnings in 2018 for funding of the project and will continue to do so through project completion. QMG is a financially strong and viable group, as evidenced by our 80-year history and strong earnings and growth. Our annual revenue is over $200 million and has grown at a rate of 8% per year for the last decade, demonstrating our financial stability. We have a very strong financial plan for the proposed surgery center, which has met our bank's rigorous standards for loan commitment. Our bank, Bank of Springfield, supports the project, and the chairman of the bank provided a letter verifying our financial strength. We also have a line of credit with the bank that we have never drawn on, and that is available for the project should it be needed. I believe we've demonstrated our financial viability and strength as a group and as an ASTC. If there are any questions or concerns regarding those topics, however, I'm happy to answer them.
I'm Ralph Weber, W-E-B-E-R, CON consultant to QMG. Patty has commented on the first of the negative findings. I will address the other two, and in doing so, I will update some of the information that I presented at the last board meeting with Blessing's new numbers. And I will say at the beginning, Blessing's numbers do not change any of the conclusions that I showed at the last meeting.
I promise I will not inundate you with numbers. This is all really good.
I just want to make sure to ask, staff has had an opportunity to review these.
They have, these were included in the March 25th packet that were sent to Mike. And updates of exactly the same types of charts, the same content, with just the updated numbers. The first chart shows that Blessing's 16 ORs and procedure rooms, hospital and the ambulatory surgery treatment center combined, will exceed the state standard of 1,500 hours per room in 2021 when the proposed ASTC would open. Based on Blessing's growth rate of 6.5% per year through 2017 for total surgery, again, inpatient and outpatient, there will be over 24,400 hours. In year 2021, when the facility opens, and that exceeds the horizontal line, is the 1,500 hours per year per room for the 16 rooms that Blessing has. Factoring in growth is appropriate here and consistent with the board's practice. As a result, the two licensed surgery facilities in the 21-mile GSA are utilized at or above the state's utilization standard when QMG's project opens. This supports the project meeting the service accessibility criterion, one of the three negatives. The second chart concentrate on just outpatient surgery hours at Blessing Hospital and the ASTC. These grew by 12.2% per year through year 2017. Using a more conservative 10.5% projected growth, that shows that in the year 2023, 2 years after completion of the project, Blessing's outpatient surgical and procedure hours will be over 24,200. Deducting QMG's projected hours at the new ASTC, that amount leaves about 13,600 hours at the existing, at Blessing, and that exceeds their 2017 hours. So why is that important? The state's criterion for unnecessary duplication and impact on area providers states that within 24 months after completion, in other words by 2023, the project will not lower to a further extent the utilization of other GSA facilities currently operating below the state standard. QMG's project in 2023, 24 months after project completion, will not lower Blessing below the total outpatient volume for the most recent year, 2017. This supports the unnecessary duplication impact on providers' criterion. I was going to go over again the change that we covered really, I think, fairly well in the comment period about the 3.5 minutes for the room cleanup. But I'd like to comment just briefly, very briefly, on the other changes that Blessing has made. Initial 2017 submittal showed their total outpatient surgical hours increasing from 11,700 in 2016 to over 18,400 in 2017. That's an increase of well over 50%, and raised questions on our part. We thought that maybe they were positioning a bit to get numbers that would support an ASTC in their new ambulatory surgery center that you approved last year. Also, it showed no volume. Their numbers in 2017 and 2016 showed no volume in their procedure rooms at the hospital. And so, yes, I did call Mike was raised before, because Blessing's volumes of surgery in the hospital and the ASTC constitute 100% of the surgical volumes in Adams County. I mean, this is one surgery center, the only surgery center in the entire health systems agency outside of Springfield. So I needed to get the numbers right, and the place to turn was Mike. So fortunately, he made the request that led to them realizing that their numbers were wrong. And frankly, when we're writing the permit application, we need to show total existing use. We must have correct numbers. So I do recommend that you be very careful about Blessing's numbers, and that I've not seen a hospital change numbers 3 times a year, or have 3 sets of numbers, the original and then 2 changes. That's very unusual. So in closing, I will say we meet 28 out of 31 criteria, 28 out of 31, and the unnecessary duplication and service accessibility are very often not met by other permits for ASTCs that are approved. And if we don't meet them, I think we come very, very close. The volumes support, I want you to know that the volumes support the project. And that helped us get 3 positive votes last month. The additional facility capacity is needed to meet the forecasted growth in surgical volumes. The current 6-room ASTC is not enough. A QMG surgery center provides the community with a choice of provider that is otherwise not available. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Adam Rafi, RAFI. I will serve as the group's interventional cardiologist, and I will work very, very closely with Dr. Darian, who has been working with QMG since 2008, and he's been doing cardiac cath there as well. I understand that the project's in full compliance in terms of cardiac cath requirements, receiving positive findings on all the cardiac cath criteria. I would like to briefly address the safety concerns that were brought about today, as well as at the previous board meeting. First, we intend to perform diagnostic cardiac catheterization in the proposed surgery center. These procedures will not require general anesthesia or hospitalization. At the last meeting, Dr. Schleckhorst, our Chief Medical Officer, and our Compliance Officer provided specific details as to the safety of performing these types of cardiac cath procedures in an ambulatory setting. It was also mentioned in QMG's application and during the last board meeting that CMS has recently approved 12 cardiac cath procedures to be performed in the ambulatory setting. This approval was not done on a pilot basis or a limited basis. It was the result of CMS's very stringent process and exhaustive review of the safety and efficacy of performing cardiac cath and such procedures in an ambulatory surgery center. Second, the successful performance of cardiac cath in freestanding facility not located to, on, or adjacent to a hospital is not a new concept, including my current state of affairs. Caths are increasingly being performed in facilities without in-house surgical backup, including hospitals, freestanding cath centers, and ambulatory surgery centers. In 2014, the Society of Cardiovascular Angiography and Interventions, the American College of Cardiology, and the American Heart Association put out a consensus document to describe the efficacy of percutaneous interventions and offered in this range of sites without surgery backup, on-site surgery backup. Outcomes have supported the growth of such facilities, and in 2007, there were 28 states that approved this. As of 2013, and this number has grown to almost 45 states. Those facilities are well established, including my current state of Florida, and continue to provide efficient and timely services in their communities with the goal of optimizing patient satisfaction, high quality care, and continue to maintain patient safety in a cost-effective ultimately, it is the physician's responsibility to do no harm and to provide care for their patients in the appropriate site of service, and this applies for any type of procedure or provision of healthcare service provided, including cardiac cath services. Both Dr. Darian and I strongly support and will provide appropriate patient selection. Just because an ambulatory setting is available does not necessarily mean that it is necessary for a particular patient. As a physician, I would only perform a cardiac cath procedure in an ambulatory setting if it is medically appropriate and the patient meets an appropriate selection and patient selection criteria. For that particular consensus document with the 3 big interventional societies, it will continue to be performed at the local hospital. Last week, I discussed continued collaboration and backup support and plan development of protocols with Dr. John Arnold, who's Blessing's cardiovascular surgeon, and Dr. Tim Smith, who's a vascular surgeon at QMG. And we continue and will continue to concur and look forward to working collaboratively together when I will be joining QMG in late June. In our session today, I'm happy to answer any questions this board may have regarding the cardiac cath procedures portion of this. I really appreciate it, and thank you for your attention.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Klein, K-L-E-I-N. I represent Quincy Medical Group. There's been a lot said today about collaboration, and I feel a need to just set the record straight. Blessing Hospital today presented this board with a false choice: block competition for Blessing or risk disharmony in the community. Had Blessing Hospital not mounted this level of opposition, there would be no disharmony in the community. We would have received approval in March, and everyone would have been on their way. Nonetheless, I would note for the record that QMG did hear the concerns raised by the board regarding the tone in the community, and we followed Chairman Sewell's advice and involved the community in our deliberations. I want to say emphatically that Dr. Petty picked up the phone and called the Blessing board chair on March 13th, not vice versa. Dr. Petty called. And Dr. Petty, in his quiet, dignified way, suggested that Blessing and QMG board members sit together and discuss how the 2 organizations could work together. Specifically, Dr. Petty suggested collaborative alignment initiative could be a good way to begin, to walk before you run. This was a sincere and gracious offer on his part, and he memorialized it in a letter that he sent to Mr. Tim Coons, the board chair, on 3/20. I will say, no response was received. None. I don't believe there was a return letter on that request. Now, QMG had put some of these concepts on the table in June of 2018, and there was no uptake on that at that time either. It was too big, too broad. If you think about it, and some of the new board members have talked about their experience in healthcare transformation, which I thought was very helpful and inspirational. Clinical alignments can do a lot of stuff in the industry right now. You have a contractual arrangement, you work on high-cost structures or high-cost areas together, you can standardize care delivery, you can do care the right way the first time in the appropriate site of service. It's huge for healthcare. And that's the kind of collaboration our doctors do day in and day out with Blessing. And we were seeking, Dr. Petty was seeking, to expand that initiative for the benefit of patients and patient safety, and for the benefits of patients in terms of reduction of cost. There was no response. Against my advice, he went further. On the night of 4/17, when the two boards did meet, he said to the Blessing board members and administration, are you sure you're not interested in participating in our proposed venture, the one that's before you today? And I was reluctant because if you all know, 50-50 partnerships are harder to get out of than marriages. So a 50-50 seemed hard to me, and there are some legal limitations in the anti-kickback statute regarding how doctors that have primary care employees can actually participate in a joint venture. But anyway, nonetheless, Dr. Petty made the executive decision. He was going to put that on the table. And he said, "Do you, Blessing, have any interest in partnership on our proposed project?" Blessing responded by saying, "We have no interest, and we will continue to oppose your project." I think that speaks volume about the motives that were on display today. There was no mention of the letter to collaborate. There was really no alternatives put forward. It's kind of, you need to acquiesce in our proposed joint venture for the existing surgery center, or there's no other collaboration that could be envisioned. We, unfortunately, were put in an uncomfortable position of looking uncooperative unless we acquiesce in a joint venture for an antiquated facility that the CEO has said is slated for discontinuance in 3 years, that has limitations of space and equipment, that is already at capacity and cannot accommodate future growth. As Board Member Murphy noted, Blessing Hospital's opposition is an outgrowth of their resistance to competition. The truth is, no organization welcomes competition. Implicit in the hospital's arguments today is that the status quo is just fine. And the corollary to that concept is that Blessing believes there's sufficient ambulatory surgical capacity in Quincy. What I think they're really saying, in effect, is if there's additional surgical outpatient volume that would, in our world, be appropriately done in an ambulatory surgery center, they think it should be done in the hospital. Now, what does that mean for patients? It means HOPD rates that we know are approximately 30 to 50% higher than ambulatory rates. And we all also know, and I don't know how this impacts exactly, but their charges are 17 to 43% higher in the hospital than other similarly situated providers. Why am I saying this? Because your duty, your charge, and I know you know this, is about patients. It's about affordability of care, it's about accessibility of care. It's not about protecting a provider, especially one that's operating in a high cost, high price universe where there's been no competition. Your job is about the patients. And in this case, we believe we've designed something, and our community partners have said we've designed something that will help the community, that would be good for patients. And we request to have the opportunity to move forward with this project in Illinois, in Quincy, where our physicians serve their neighbors and their friends and the hospital. Thank you.
Does that conclude your remarks?
Sorry, I was listening intently. In closing, we are passionate and extremely proud of our project. It was carefully designed to meet the needs of our patients in the community, and while at the same time meeting the board's technical requirements, not adversely impacting nearby providers. It has the overwhelming support of our community, and we believe it's in the best interest of the people of Quincy. Quincy wants this project. Quincy needs this competition and choice. Quincy will benefit from this. Our patients need competition and choice. You have our word that we will continue to be in a collaborative relationship with our local hospital to ensure that two organizations provide the very best level of care for the benefit of our patients. I hope that we have successfully addressed and resolved questions from the last meeting. If there's hesitancy or concerns or follow-up questions today, I respectfully ask that you raise those and allow us to answer them so that we have an opportunity to do so before the project goes to vote. And if no questions, then I thank you for your time, and we respectfully ask for your approval of our project.
Thank you. Let's focus on the application for a minute. I know there's been a lot, there seems to be more talk about things that aren't having anything to do with the application, like collaboration and buddy agreements and all that kind of stuff, and I appreciate that, but let's talk about the application because that's why we're here. Mike, I'd like a clarification from you. In the state board staff report on this new hearing, you said that there were originally 4 deficiencies and those 4 remain. Is that correct?
There's 4 deficiencies in the original staff report, and then on the one, the movable equipment cost, that was removed from the original report because shouldn't have been a movable equipment, it's permanent, stationary, sorry.
So does that bring us to 3?
3, that's correct, yes.
All right, because I heard over here, I heard 3, I heard 2, I heard 1. I just want to make sure we're all in agreement. So you addressed 3 finally.
I addressed 2, and Patty addressed 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 3, 3, perfect, thank you. Are there any other questions?
I would like to make a clarification.
Absolutely.
We did not approve Blessing Hospital for another ASTC in Quincy. We haven't done that, the board has not done that. I think it was mentioned in the testimony here that there was another ASTC.
Right, but we haven't seen any application.
No.
Can you explain that? I was confused about your reference to another ASTC as well.
I think what our consultant, Mr. Oppenheimer, was saying is that he couldn't figure out why the numbers were changing, and the only motive we can, ascribe to it is that they were maybe trying to justify a bigger volume so that they could come in with an ASTC application. When we brought our application forward, the numbers dropped repeatedly.
Are there any other, Mr. Gelder?
So as you were presenting the demand,
Mr. Gelder, bring the mic closer.
as you were describing the demand for services and the increased demand that you anticipate shortly, that would leave Blessing, I guess, with, I'm trying to think of the lessons you were trying to teach us with that, but partly it was that Blessing would still have an adequate business in its ASTC. Is that right? Is that what you were saying?
That's correct.
Okay, so I don't need to, I just want to make sure I was on the same page.
Yes.
So my question is, if you can address what we want in response to it is about pricing. So the pricing now, and that's been a big concern to me. I know it's not an issue per se, I think, with the Health Facility and Services Review Board, but healthcare costs so much in America because we have very high prices. We have to pay very high prices. You're addressing one of the you're addressing one of the issues that contribute to the high prices, which is in some communities, many don't lack of competition. And so we're trying to create competition that would then help, as you've already said, already push Blessing's prices down that they were anticipating charging, which I guess is good. But as the demand increases, what's the decision-making process within the medical group to not increase prices to match what your competitor is able to charge?
I think the real thing that we're saying here is that they did move their pricing down, or they said they will. They put in to this date, I don't know that it's been achieved, to ambulatory surgery center rates in the existing ASTC. If you don't have sufficient capacity, then where do the other cases go? And their own numbers projected a growth rate that's not dissimilar to what Ralph projected for you. So they're recruiting doctors, we're recruiting doctors. Where do these, and there's out-migration that's quite significant, in large part because of the high cost. So where do these patients go? They go to the hospital. In the hospital setting, you're not reducing your your prices to ambulatory rates. You're charging hospital outpatient department rates. Those rates are higher, 30 to 50% than in the ambulatory surgery center. And then what we don't know is how much their already high rates play into that. I'm not an expert on hospital rate structure, but that's the concern as you put it in the wrong setting.
But what about the Quincy's? Right? How does Quincy make its pricing decision?
It would have to be at a freestanding ambulatory surgery center rate.
Part of that is simply reputation. So we've got all these businesses and community leaders in town that are on board with us having a low-cost center. We would obviously lose that if we became a high-cost center. But just as importantly, we're part of the Next Gen ACO. We're one of only about a dozen in the country. We're at risk. We need to have our patients with low costs, and right now we don't. And so that's our incentive as well, is to help keep our patients' costs low because we're at risk if we're not.
How many providers, how many doctors are in your group?
115.
Okay, thank you.
compelled to make somewhat of a statement. And excuse me, Dr. Petty, he made mention of the fact that, not to put words in your mouth, you frankly doubted the sincerity of Blessing in some of their statements of making price improvements. And I frankly came away with that impression from the public participation. I don't think there has been any reason that they couldn't have begun to charge freestanding ASTC rates long before now. And I frankly am left with a doubt that if this petition is denied, many of the statements and price improvements made today will actually happen.
All right, George, will you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Motion made by McNeil, seconded by McGlasson. Senator DeMuzio.
Well, it's been a long day, and we have now come to our final vote, I believe. It's been 2 sessions of hearing both QMC and Lansing Hospital, and it's very, very difficult to look at out in the crowd and see that everyone has their own agenda and wants to basically work together, I hope. When we left last time, we asked that you work together, collaborate. Unfortunately, I didn't hear that all across the board today. I've heard it some, but not completely. And so therefore, I'm going to be voting no on the QMC.
Thank you. Mr. Gelder.
I vote yes, based on both the analysis and the testimony earlier today, as well as from the applicants. This is a complicated area that I feel that overall the benefits of the people of Illinois weigh in on the side of granting this.
Thank you. Ms. Hamus.
Oh man, I didn't think that at 8 o'clock I could listen so closely, but I have all day, 40 witnesses, I think, on behalf of Blessing. So I am persuaded by those numbers that there is a continuing demand for service in that part of Illinois. And I am worried that if the one ASTC doesn't have capacity, then it's going to be the hospital beds that are filled for surgeries. And that is not a good result. I think that there has been a lot of talk about collaboration, and quite honestly, I came before we heard from all of you, I thought that you were the bad guys because you refused to collaborate, but I'm now convinced that actually goes both ways. And it's unfortunate that there's so much vitriol in one small community, and hopefully you'll deal with it and you'll work together when you have 2 ASTCs, so I'm voting yes.
Thank you. Ms. Henry.
I'm voting yes. My biggest concern coming in was your financial viability, and I think you successfully answered exactly how you're going to reach your costs, which is important for moving forward.
Thank you. Mr. McGlasson.
Yes, I'd like to extend a little bit what Mr. Gelder just said. We're here to grant or deny a certificate of need, and I do think that there's a need greater than maybe all the rest is to change healthcare and the cost of healthcare in the United States. So I think the people of Quincy and the state of Illinois and the United States in general are the enemy is the status quo, and we need to change the status quo, and if we don't, woe is us.
Thank you. Dr. McNeil.
Based on the testimony and the report, I vote
I'm sorry.
no.
No.
Can you go back to Mr. McGlasson? Can we get a yes or a no?
Well, I'm sorry. Yes, definitely.
be concerned with the collaboration and everything else we've heard. It's unfortunate that the situation is what it is, but our job as the board is to look at the application you presented, the findings that